She was a seaside sitting, just smoking and drinking on ringside, on top of the world, oh yeah. She had a drink in her hand, she had her toes in the sand, oh wow, what a beautiful girl, ah yeah. What a sweet talking honey with a little bit of money, so turn your head around. Creature from the sea with the looks to me like she likes to fool around. What a snappy little mammy, gonna keep a pappy happy and accompany me to the ends of the earth. Ah, yeah. So I said, here I am, they know, man of the world knows. All I need is a beautiful girl. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls. Come here, honey, come on. Well, I'm a bum in the sun and I'm having fun, and I know you know I got no special plans. Special plans. All the bills are paid, I got it made in the shade, and all I need is the woman. Understand? What a sweet talking honey with a little bit of money, she don't know head around. A creature from the sea with the looks to me like she liked to fool around. Here I am, they know, man of the world knows. All I need is a beautiful girl. Ah, yeah, beautiful girl. Oh, come this way, baby. Sit down right here. Ooh la la. I think I got it now. Now I'm a seaside sitting, just smoking and a drinking, I'm ringside, on top of the world. Top of the world. I got a drink in my hand, I got my toes in the sand. All I need is a beautiful girl. Beautiful girl. Oh yeah. Here I am, they know, man of the world. All I need is a beautiful girl. Ah, yeah, beautiful girl. Oh, I ain't lying to you. Nothing else I need. Ah, yeah, beautiful girl. Set yourself on down. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls. Come here, baby, come here. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls. What's your name, honey? What's your... Hey, where are you going? Hey, beautiful girls. Hey, this way. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls. I love them. I need them. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls. Can't do without them, no. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls. Ah, yeah, beautiful girls.
All right, good morning, everybody. It is March 2nd, and boy, how the time goes by. It's Larsen Live. We opened up with Van Halen's Beautiful Girls because sometimes you just need that mindless 80s dude rock. And if you think that song's good, just wait till you see The Pool. Am I right? If you're gay and you got a big thirst, reach for a tall, cold glass of Schmidt's Gay. It's still funny. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, anyway. Timothy Adams says he's already touched grass. Let's go. Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to touch the grass today. It's raining outside where I am. Grass is a little muddy. But yes, the fair sex did come up quite a lot this week. in all the stupid ways that the extremely online people tend to mention the fair sex. So let's just get right to it. I guess we could just go right to the title story. A video went kind of viral, uh, in which some girls, from what I gather, they were like LSU sorority girls, were dancing about in a gas station. And of course, the extremely online right wing just lost their shit. That's degenerate. Oh no, a bunch of like basic blonde white girls were dancing around like in a goofy way. Not even a particularly sexual way, just kind of goofy. And it's like, oh my god, the West is over. Like, you can't marry these women. No, no, this is degeneracy. This is degenerate. Yeah, God forbid a bunch of young 20-something girls goof around and dance around at a gas station with their Stanley cups. Yeah, they all got Stanley cups. And again, there's nothing particularly sexual about this. I mean, do I find their dancing particularly impressive? No. But I see this and I could not possibly care less. But the extremely online right sees this and declares that the West has fallen, the Ottomans are at the gates of Constantinople, and society will never again be the same because some blonde bimbos were dancing around. So says Cool Christian Engineer on February 27th. Gentlemen, good luck finding a potential wife in the West. True femininity is not loud and obnoxious like this. Yeah, I've mentioned this before, but this is pretty much the reason why I've never been able to vote Republican. Just because, I don't know if this is just an American thing or really like a conservative thing in general. What I mean specifically is this a American conservative thing in general? Like, do European or Asian right wingers do this? I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, like just the utter revulsion and hatred they feel for any kind of like not just sexuality, but just anything that isn't, just putting on a gray suit and going to your bullshit wagey job for 10 hours a day. Like they hate anything that isn't that. And they claim it's degeneracy. It's degeneracy to have a bunch of, college kids goofing around on a TikTok video. It's degeneracy to listen to music. It's degeneracy to have art and fun and parties and music and dancing. If you want to be a true trad right winger, you just got to go to work and blow the shit out of brown people countries. The philistinism, like I cannot stand these goddamn people. It's the philistinism. This is why I've never been able to vote Republican. Just the utter goddamn philistinism. Okay, Timothy Adams says, why did the Christian fundamentalists I grew up with ban premarital sex? It could lead to public dancing. Yes, I've heard that joke myself. C-Punk Messiah says, this is the type of person Heinrich Himmler would have been had he been a young adult today. He was a noodle-armed Wiener Schnitzel. Yes, he was. And actually, I saw a Mark Felton on YouTube. He does pretty good, like little historical mini documentaries, and he actually did a pretty interesting one about when Heinrich Himmler, who was the head of the SS, he actually decided, the SS is supposed to be the blonde Aryan Superman, and I don't really live up to that, so I should try. So Heinrich Himmler then set himself upon a vigorous workout schedule to try to at least reach, the bare minimum standards that the Schutzstaffel man was supposed to reach. If you ever wanted to see, little pigeon chest wiener boy Heinrich Himmler, shirtless and wearing like khaki shorts, running around the track, that's the video for you. From what I gather, after months of vigorous training, he did barely manage to reach the bare minimum standards for the SS fitness. But yeah, he was he did not have the makings of a varsity athlete, as Tony Soprano would put it. Yeah, he would much rather prefer whacking off over weirdo esoteric mysticism, Agartha and the Thule Society and what have you. Ponythroat then says, the people calling this degeneracy went back to watching hentai and playing Genshin Impact. I have never played Genshin Impact, and I've only ever watched hentai on occasion as a joke for my own amusement, so I can't really judge there. But yeah, it's just the whole sex. I mean, I feel like if you went to like I don't know France or something, the right wing would not nearly be as sex negative. In fact, I know for a fact because in France, the left wingers they're very much against the topless beaches because it offends the Muslims, and the right wingers are like, no, this is hone Frenchiness. So yeah, definitely in other places, the right wing is not nearly as sex negative, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like the Protestantism, like the old Protestant work ethic in this country. But these some people just they hate any sex, any sort of like any kind of expression of femininity that isn't being barefoot and pregnant and chained up in a kitchen. Maybe because like I'm married and I have a very happy marriage and I actually have an active sex life, but like I I feel no negative emotions about this. I mean, okay, the music they're dancing to isn't particularly great, but it is what it is. Like, okay, it's a bunch of young ladies dancing about for a bit of fun with their gigantic Stanley cups. I move on with my day, but I don't just lay in my semen encrusted bed sheets like fuming at how dare these women have fun? How dare they not be in burqas? We need white Sharia now. Some people in the Twitter thread were sensible. What are you on about? They're just having fun. Cool Christian engineer who has a gigantic neckbeard, according to his profile picture. Oh, he's a warrior for Christ, and apparently this guy's married, and I just pray this man doesn't have a daughter, because woof. The song says they're dancing with their titties out. No, they're just having innocent fun. No, how dare they? Me. I mean, personally speaking, I like to think of myself as a masculine man, and I've never felt the urge to just control women's like behavior out of a sense of I don't know inferiority. But then again, I'm not a cool Christian engineer, so I don't know. A, a Kurt Tezera says, if the young men ignored them and set standards they upheld, things could change real quick. The women run on affirmations. They don't get any, they'll change their habits. Men need to lead. There are good ladies in the West. They need guidance. Yeah, they need that Christian domestic discipline. So, Mr. Tazir, I guess it's good to see that's not just Protestant, pasty neckbeards doing this. Hispanics are in this like shit as well. Rocky Mountain MW. Unrestrained femininity is pure chaos and destruction. Me. Christ, these. I hate to do the woman thing and immediately assault a man's sexual prowess or lack thereof, but I'm almost certain that cool Christian engineer cannot and has never made a woman orgasm. This is incredibly stupid. The West is over. This is a symptom. Me. Someone says 304s defend other 304s. I feel like I should know what a 304 is. Let's check the Urban Dictionary right now. Oh, it's a hoe. That's right, of course. I forgot that the manosphere has their gay little like jargon that they use to have secret, big boy code words that nobody else knows about. Hey, Timothy Adams says the Nazis like to booze women in dancing. Yeah, the Nazis were actually all into like, naked yoga and such. I mean, they were kind of weird about it too. They were like really performative. But yeah, this is way in the opposite direction. Robert Diaz says, I voted Republican more often than Democrats based on the core issues. Fair enough. And like I've said, there are things I do agree with in the, what at least the Republicans claim is their basic, party platform. Like, I do believe the government should be, in general, smaller. I do believe that people should, pull themselves up by their bootstraps. I do believe that, we should have clean streets and be tough on crime. But then they do shit like this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to stick to voting independent. C Punk Messiah says Hitler, Himmler, and Goebbels are hardly Aryan specimens, and that goes double for a lot of the far-right weirdos today. Yeah, yes, well said. Ponythroat says, at least Himmler put his money where his mouth was, above that thing you could call a chin, whereas Goering and Goebbels looked like the number 10 standing next to each other. I mean, Goering was like a legit ace pilot in World War One, and then he decided to just eat his weight in, hot dogs. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I don't think he was physically capable of flying after the 1920s. Timothy Adams says our European ancestors were infamous for too much booze, liking maidens, and dancing, carousing a lot, especially college students. Well, there's nothing wrong with dancing about and carousing. There's a time and a place for it. And I don't see anything wrong with some girls doing a TikTok at a gas station. Rick said, Ed Wood once showed teens dancing as degenerate in Night of the Ghouls. Rick said the next movie he made was The Sinister Urge. I have not seen as many of Ed Wood's movies as I should, and I agree I should fix that. Ponythroat said the Sinister Urge to defecate in the urinal. Yeah, when you drop that big meaty chud in the urinal, it's bad, as Mr. Mackey would put it. Ponythroat going on to talk about the failure of the Nazi higher ups to live up to the Aryan ideal. Hermann Goering was 5'6" and he weighed 280 pounds. Yes, he was quite the tubster. Or he was truly the Jack Porkins of real life. Indeed. Robert Diaz says tasteful expression is a necessary thing. Positive expression, leading people to not harm others, is better for everyone. Yes. But the point is, I don't have this knee-jerk, furious hatred of like basic blonde sorority girls goofing around that, the trad right does. I mean, these are the people who literally call for white Sharia, and can't say I approve of that. There's actually a few things that happened with the ladies today, or this past week. And also, this actually does have to deal with academia still. Sorry. Yeah, so we're going to leave the University of Louisiana, or LSU rather, and now we're going to go to Berkeley, in which yet another neurotic white lady pretended to be Native American. A Caspian king, Prince Caspian, said that I spent the last 9 months on the story of Elizabeth Hoover, not to be confused with Lisa Simpson's teacher, or I don't even know if she is the teacher anymore. I don't know, like multiple people from the Simpsons cast have died. I gotta look this up. Okay, anyway, while I'm looking that up, yes, Elizabeth Hoover was a Berkeley professor who claimed to be Native American but was outed as white by her closest friends. Hoover says it was an innocent story, or an innocent mistake based on a family story. Was it, though? I don't know. But yeah, this is yet another goddamn, like, I mean, I've talked about this before, but boy, this happens a lot. Histrionic, white girls just really get into like dressing up in costumes and dancing about. And I emphasize costumes, by the way. This is a direct quote from the article. Simpson was highly suspicious of Hoover on the account of the sheer volume of beads and Native American signifiers she was known to wear. Hoover insists this was exaggerated, but others described her in a similar fashion. She looks as if an Etsy shop exploded onto her face, Simpson said. Oh, and apparently she beat out an actual Native American academic for the position. So, this honestly amuses me. Like, I'm imagining, like, an actual Native American guy wearing a suit and a tie showing up for the interview, and then this woman walks in, like, wearing a bunch of dream catchers and, like, wampum belts while being very obviously white and getting the job because, well, that's just what Indians look like. But yeah, like, white women named Elizabeth just cannot stop pretending to be Indians. Uh, okay, yes, Maggie Roswell is still alive, so I guess yeah, Miss Hoover is still teaching Lisa and Ralph. I presume it's not the same woman. A Pony Throat says that the Simpsons cast were not young 35 years ago. They're basically dust at this point. Yes, yes, they are. I'm convinced that Julie Kavner has like some kind of undiagnosed throat cancer. Because, yeah, she sounds terrible nowadays. Hey, Aryan Sharma says, why are people spreading so much misinfo about milk like it increases estrogen? I don't know. There's a lot of dietary flim-flam out there in the world. Robert Diaz says, after a congresswoman did it to get ahead, pulling in Elizabeth Warren seems like an okay idea to some. Yeah, we're going to see a lot more of this as America continues its decline. It's remarkable, like how honorable most white Americans are that they don't take advantage of this. Like I know in other places that have affirmative action, like Brazil and India, like it's pretty rampant to like cheat on that. But we don't really do that here, and I feel like that's going to stop happening pretty damn soon. And yeah, where was I? So yeah, so Miss Hoover wore many like beads and like just covered head to toe in turquoise and silver, and apparently that's enough to get you faked as being a Native American. Yeah. Again, I do still find it a bit funny that everybody keeps talking about how white supremacist and racist America is, and yet every week it seems like there's just another story of like some white person pretending to be not white to get ahead in life. The Twitter thread is then full of other stories of the exact same thing happening. Bunch of histrionic drama club kids pretending to be Native Americans. Hey, C-Punk Messiah says, I have a weird annoyance that blonde white girls, that stems from my own feelings of alienation from normies. I feel like an alien most of the time. Uh, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I feel a bit alienated from the normies too, but it's not really a hair thing or a skin thing that makes me alienated. It's more of a societal and a cultural thing. My wife is a lovely brunette, by the way, but I've run the gamut with hair colors, and that's okay. Hey, Aryan Sharma says, as an Indian, I presume he means Indian. If the name Aryan Sharma didn't signify that, I think Blood Meridian is one of the most authentic American novels ever. Uses all aspects of American culture, religion, natives, and mythology, and creates the ultimate novel. Yes. I mean, I have my issues with Cormac McCarthy's prose, but he did say he wanted to set out and deliberately sort of deconstruct the Western mythos, and I think he did an admirable job of that. I just wish the man could learn how to use punctuation properly. But that's a whole different issue. Uh, yeah, so I guess, there are some issues with blood quantum. It's not perfect, but if it stops more of these ethnic frauds from appearing, I think we're going to have to stick with it. And even more female follies that happened. From the New York Post, a mother lost an $800,000 disability case after photos emerged of her winning a tree throwing competition. Yeah, when you're pretending to be disabled and you just decide to do an impromptu caber toss. Yeah, don't you just hate when that happens? I don't know. I feel like if I were pretending to be disabled, I wouldn't enter a goddamn caber toss competition. And I know it's technically a tree throwing competition. It's not the caber toss per se, but still, I would have sat on that for a bit. Oh boy, Blitzen, I'm gonna do a caber toss and just whoops, I'm totally healthy. And yeah, just FYI, if somebody in my family blew 800 grand by pretending to be disabled and then failing, I would make sure they would be actually disabled pretty damn quick. Incidentally, I'm curious as to how much a caber weighs. A caber weighs between 90 and 150 pounds. That's good to know. And speaking of The Simpsons, I still want to play Angus Pagorni's caber toss video game. I mean, it's at the very least better than Lee Carvalho's putting challenge. But it's probably equal to Bone Storm. Hey, see, Punk Messiah says that it is definitely social and cultural for me as well. Yes, we are all alienated from the normies. Pony Throat says Blood Meridian is the story of Chief Running Sentence. Yes. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think overall it was good that I read the book, but I'm not as big a fan as some other people are. Cause like it's just I just don't like the way Cormac McCarthy writes prose, and like it just kind of drags. I'm like, you're literally you're writing a story about a bunch of like scalp hunting mercenary animals. Like, how do you make this like not interesting in some places? And then Judge Holden starts talking, and my interest is captured again. Rick says, "What is your opinion on the Count Dante bio comic? I have not read that." Ponythroat says maybe being Scottish qualifies as a disability. How very Anglo-Saxon of you, sir. Aryan Sharma asks, what is my opinion of the death of criticism and how movies like Predator gloss over being action movies despite having a very in-depth analysis of men, nature of violence, etc.? I mean, I have my issues with criticism. I definitely think that, you know, seemingly mindless action movies can have more depth than you would think. I guess with the internet, everybody can just have their own voice and be a critic. And like anything else, 90% of it is crap and 10% of them are good. C-Punk Messiah says he doesn't agree with the blood quantum thing. If he said he was 1/4, nobody would bat an eye. But he can't join the tribe. Then you have people in the tribe who look like Hitler's finest. I mean, like I said, it's certainly not perfect. There's issues with it. I'm not Native American, so I can't really pretend like I can really opine that much on it. I feel like the main issue is really just try to stop like these, ethnic frauds. I guess that's why they do it, really. Ponythroat says you don't have to be inhumanly strong to toss a caber. The aim in tossing the caber is not even distance. Well, I mean, I do know that. Like it's 90 to 150 pounds, so it's not that heavy. And yeah, I know you're supposed to get it in rotations, not distance. Robert Diaz says it's hard to be a moral person in modern America. Yes, it is. And that's a shame. Aryan Sharma says he found my channel over the Noble Savage's book. Oh, well, thank you, sir. Yeah, Manthropology never really got that many views, but it is a passion of mine. Just like the school suck videos, they'll never be super successful, but it's something that has to be said. Continuing on the lady train from the Atlantic, dear therapist, I miss having sex. I'm a 70-year-old widow and I don't know how to get my needs met. Now, I've certainly sympathized for this lady. Obviously, I imagine that's when you're old, you still want some pipe laid into you. But bear in mind that it's a bit strange that an old lady has to like get her needs met. This is something that warrants writing into an advice column. But then again, these are undoubtedly the same people who get upset if a 40-year-old man dates a 20-year-old woman. They claim that's pedophilia. Does the 40-year-old man not have needs to be met? What about those old men who can't have sex? Oh, just fuck the incels. Just suck it up and deal with it. Like, seriously, what would happen if some geek was like, I'm a 23-year-old virgin. I don't know how to get my needs met. Would they have any sympathy for that man? I doubt it. Yes, Aristophanes did write a play about this exact thing. I think there's a very obvious solution here. The incels can sleep with the horny old ladies. Everybody wins. Okay. Aryan Sharma says he watched the Noble Savage video again. And Alpha Maria says he loved the Margaret Mead video. Thank you. Ponythroat says it's not how caber tossing works either. You got to flip it onto its end. It's to lay it straight as possible. I see. Well, I don't have that many opportunities to caber toss in my life. I mean, I wish I could, but I don't. Okay, Aryan Sharma says, what are my opinions on Nietzsche and the needs of higher men? Nietzsche had some good ideas. He also didn't really practice what he preached. He was kind of a weenie, to be honest. He also asked, why don't a lot of movies use Ubermensch philosophy to critique or discover it? Fight Club is the last one and the only popular one. I feel like a lot of people don't really want to engage with those ideas, even on like an intellectual level. They'd rather just criticize them. And of course, a lot of people don't understand them. Like Fight Club, a lot of people were like, "Hey, let's just make the Fight Club video game. Let's totally miss the point of the goddamn story here." Chuck Palahniuk is like, "Just give me the money. I don't care what you do with it." All right, let's get off the ladies for a second, and let's talk about some other things that occurred. Uh, as we all remember, probably this last week, another big item of news was the self-immolation of Aaron Bushnell, a man who lit himself on fire. He was an Air Force pilot who was protesting our support for Israel with regards to the Palestine thing, and he lit himself on fire. I mean, fair enough. I'm not going to judge him for doing what he did. He has a right to do that. But immediately after he did that, his fellow comrades were spitting on him because he's a fucking white male. Don't you dare say rest in power for this white man, a white member of the United States Air Force. Somebody who's in the military is a nasty piece of work using rest and power for him. I don't even know when this rest and power thing came up. It sounds stupid. But yeah, anyway, Sam Ashworth Hayes says it best. As far as metaphors for the modern left go, burning yourself alive over a country thousands of miles away only to have fellow leftists spit on you that as a white male you're an oppressor anyway, that's pretty perfect. Yeah, dare I say, that sums it up. Yeah, there's a surprising amount of communists or communist sympathizers in the United States military. If the military isn't a bastion of hard right thought, I don't know what is. I dare say he could have he could have resigned from the military and gone AWOL, and that would have been equally as effective without lighting himself on fire. Dare I say that there's certainly a lot of things in this country that I don't like, but I don't light myself on fire for them. I've protested things. I've done some civil disobedience in my life, but lighting myself on fire was never an option. But yes, the communists are failing as always. And speaking of communist failures, a something went kind of viral, at least in my circles, from a Hoxhaist TDM. If you ever want to scare the shit out of anti-communists, just throw this quote at them. We have no compassion and we ask no compassion from you. When our turn comes, we will not make excuses for our terror. Karl Marx. Hoxhaist TDM is also on record saying, I'm a bad communist. I have a lot of work to do, like handling my crippling social anxiety. I'm curious as to how you plan on evoking, the red terror when you're a sniveling agoraphobe who can't look people in the eye and order a coffee without pissing your pants in fear. Yeah, word of advice, if your red terror can be stopped by me, kicking you in the balls and giving you a wedgie, you're probably not going to, purge the kulaks anytime soon. Well, you gotta do baby steps. Today you're gonna leave the house. Tomorrow you're gonna look the cashier in the eye when you buy the groceries, and tomorrow you can purge the kulaks and seize their potato farms, one step at a time, comrade. And by the way, of all the communist leaders to name yourself after, you're a Hoxhaist, really? Even communists don't like Enver Hoxha. Like Albania, communist Albania, even you couldn't even sugarcoat that to make it seem good. It's like naming yourself after Ceausescu or something like that. Yeah, I'm just gonna build these little urinal bunkers all around the swamps, and that'll defend my country. Herdy der. Yeah, go look up those little Albanian crap bunkers. By the way, they literally look like urinals just sticking out of the ground. Tankies should not be taken seriously. They just shouldn't. You ever wonder if Stalin looks up and thinks and looks like, oh God, these are the people who are carrying the the banner of international revolution. Oh God, where do we go wrong? And to be fair, I'm sure Hitler also looks up from hell and sees the pathetic excuses for neo-Nazis that exist today, and he probably says the same thing. Yeah, I'm an agoraphobe. I'm going to lead that revolution one of these days. Now I'm imagining this guy like being in the room executing the Romanov children, and then the dog barks at him, and he runs out of the room like screaming. Hey, Arian Sharma says people also say the same for Machiavelli. He was at least concerned with his teachings. Yes. Ponythroat says the Fight Club video game, due to having Limp Bizkit music, was contractually obligated to feature Fred Durst as a playable character. Yes, yes. I mean, not sure what you would expect from a band literally named after a masturbation game. I'm genuinely curious as to who thinks up the concept of playing Limp Bizkit. Like if you're in a room with a bunch of guys all whacking off onto a piece of bread or a cookie, you really got to take a step back and think you've made some bad decisions in your life. Arian Sharma says that I inspired him to take testosterone, get assertiveness, and get a girlfriend. Oh, well, I'm very glad, sir. Congratulations. Ponythroat says the virgin soldier screaming and flailing versus the Chad 70-year-old monk acting like the waiter forgot the crazy bread. I feel like Aaron Bushnell would scream and flail if the waiter didn't bring the breadsticks. Arian Sharma says that your physical form describes a lot about your mentality. Yes, yes, it does. Alpha Marigi says nobody who pays attention would have joined the military. Eventually, the Hicks realize that DC hates them for being white. Yes, I have noticed that. White recruitment into the combat arms has plummeted like 10% over the last couple of months. I think the Cletus and Buford are waking up. Robert Diaz says communism fails because at some point the people who produce the actual value stop working after they had everything taken from them. Yes, yes, they do. And of course, the Soviet Union also had a policy of 100% employment. And in fact, parasitism was a crime. So your average tanky nowadays, they all seem to be under the impression that like when the revolution comes, they'll be sitting in their room during like doing interpretive like ass shaking for trans rights or whatever. When in fact, parasitism was a severe crime in the Soviet Union, and it would get your ass in the gulag. So here's the problem. The Soviet Union mandated 100% employment for all adults. But of course, instead of, allowing people to find their own jobs and train themselves, they just stuck people wherever. So this is why you had to go through like 4 different clerks to go grocery shopping. Timothy Adams says kind of the same thing. They pretend to pay us and we pretend to work. Indeed. Pony Throat says that Russia and China thought Albania was too crazy to side with, so Enver Hoxha sided with 440,000 bunkers instead. Yes. And, when, and this is during, yeah, when Mao Zedong thinks you're fucking up too much, you got a problem there. Arian Sharma talks about the Greek tradition of mens sano corpore sane, and America is downstream from body positive nonsense. It wasn't always this way, sir. Back in the 60s, you could see a high school gym in this country. All the men look like Navy SEALs and the women look like nymphs dancing around the trees. Hey, Alpha Mariga says he saw a meme where Stalin is looking down and like at the new communists and Hitler's laughing at him. I've seen that, and I've also seen the exact opposite one where Hitler's looking down at the pathetic followers he has today and Stalin's laughing at him. I mean, they're both like modern day communists and modern day Nazis are equally pathetic most of the times. Ponythroat says Enver Hoxha put a lot of effort into protecting Albania's border. Strong cope, as not even Albanians want to be in Albania. Well said. Alpha Marigi says some tankies think Jeff Bezos' bank account will feed all of humanity in perpetuity. Yes, a lot of people do seem to be under the impression that the government is just a big piggy bank with infinite monies. Ponythroat then clarifies that yes, Limp Biscuit is a game where everybody whacks off onto a piece of bread, and the last one to come has to eat it. Yeah, in general, you should not be playing games with masturbation. Hey, Aaron Sharma talks about communism. Communists want to say working without money and food is bad. Working without money and food is good in the gulag. Yes, they do. And bear in mind that the modern tanky nowadays is like, it's fascist to work out. So these people, they're afraid to like talk to people on the street. They don't work out. They don't exercise. They don't eat healthy. But they're gonna lead that revolution. Oh, who am I kidding? We all know that they're just gonna open up the prisons and insane asylums and have them do the fighting, which is exactly what happened in all the communist countries. But let's move on. We got some science news, and this is actually pretty interesting. Okay. It's an article about sperm whales. There's an effort to decipher sperm whale language with artificial intelligence. A Ross Anderson reached out to philosophers, linguists, animal rights lawyers, marine biologists, and paleontologists. Paleontologists say that these whale clans might date back to the Ice Age. These basic groups could be hundreds of thousands of years old. The whale clans meet a fraction of their fellow clan members in their lifetime because they can contain possibly more than 10,000 whales. When they meet, they use a clan-specific dialect of click sequences called codas. These codas could be orders of magnitude more ancient than Sanskrit. We don't know how much meaning they convey, but they might be difficult to decode. Yes. Yes, what should we say to the whales? ChatGPT says a 5-year-old child might ask a whale these questions. Where do you live? What do you eat? Do you have friends in the ocean? Do you play like I do? How do you swim so fast? What do you do all day? And do you enjoy being a whale? I mean, this is obviously very important. Kirk and Spock have to go back in time to deal with this whole whale talking issue. Somebody in this thread, obviously a very big Lovecraft fan, asks, do we want to know what the whales know? They've seen things that nobody will ever encounter. Can we comprehend what is normal chatter amongst these animals? Yes, that could be the case. It could also be saying, hey guys, you know that game Ecco the Dolphin? Yeah, that shit's real. Yeah, that game pissed me off a lot. But yes, I would love to say hello to the whales. Okay, we got some comments going on here. C Punk Messiah says, I feel that certain elements of communism are pretty good ideas, but the way communists go about things throws the whole idea in the trash. It leaves the door open for psychopaths. Yeah, I mean, and make no mistake about it, I do definitely think that capitalism needs a regulation. Like I've said multiple times on the show, you really can't comprehend just how much better the life of the average American was just, 40 or 50 years ago. We were Catholics, we had more regulation then. And yeah, definitely unrestrained capitalism is bad. Well, let me put it this way. The problem is that capitalism is restrained where it should be free, and it's free where it should be restrained. In other words, the banks and the hedge funds, they get socialism, and we, the wages get rugged individualist capitalism. Okay, Rick says he's heading out. Later, Rick. Alpha Marie says, I don't think anybody actually played it. I think that's just a pre-internet meme. Well, who knows? And there's a lot of degenerate perverts out there. Pointy Throat says the ultimate desire of capitalism is to have workers they don't have to pay. Therefore, communism is the ultimate form of capitalism. Yeah, definitely. The people who are advocating for like unrestrained, total free market, laissez-faire capitalism. Yeah, if you get them talking long enough, they'll basically tell you that they want like slaves, and I don't want that. Timothy Adams says a line from the poem "The Revolution Never Came." Well-fed stock never leave their stalls, and the children of aging hippies look up from their video games and ask, "Can we get pizza?" And by the way, Alpha Marigi, when I saw that chat that said nobody actually played it, for a second I thought you were talking about Ecco the Dolphin. Oh, I played Ecco the Dolphin. I got to the like the ice cap level, and I could never get past that. There's those big, spider crabs that they just kick your ass. Yeah, I talked to the whales. I talked to the big DNA strand. But I could never beat that game. Okay, Arian Sharma. Opinion on politics ruining the communal feeling in between same races and their disruption. Yeah, things are certainly divisive. Rick says, Captain, there be whales here. Indeed. Arian Sharma says, Timothy Adams' comment remind you how after Heaven's Gate got flopped and Star Wars came out, all the hippies became hyper consumers and forgot about revolution in like a year. Yeah, see, the thing about hippies is there's some hippies that are cool, the ones who actually practice what they preach. They live out on their own, they have their farms and stuff, and they, you know, the ones who actually don't do the consumer shit, those hippies are okay. It's the ones that, like, are just, soft authoritarians I don't like. Biff Slankovich says, Snow Crash, Pizza University. Well said. Ponythroat says, that face when you thought under communism you'd be digging coal, but they force you at gunpoint to be a streamer instead. Alpha Mariga says, I played Ecco the Dolphin on a 3 Genesis game on 1 Game Boy Advance cartridge thing. I didn't figure it out. Yeah, it's pretty confusing, Ecco the Dolphin, but it is like super new age, like, hippie shit. You're your dolphin, you talk to the animal friends, and like then the aliens abduct all your fellow dolphins. And there's like the big DNA strand, and you talk to the whales, and there's like the ancient ones and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty confusing. Perhaps you made the right decision to go play Golden Axe instead. Timothy Adams says, Whale Chat, where the white squid at? Yes, they enjoy eating the white squid. Ponythroat says, some people played Echo. Cartridges of it are as common as lint. Yeah, I remember renting Echo the Dolphin when I was a wee boy, like really young, like 5 or 6. But yes, I would like to talk to the whales. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Wow, what this is something about celebrities. We're gonna go back in just a second before we get to the pop culture stuff. I think I got one more useful thing to talk about. Actually, yeah, a couple interesting things. Um, some archaeology news that was kind of interesting. There was a medieval stone corbel, like a stone sort of gargoyle thing, depiction of a dog and a rabbit on the side of a church in, I want to say England. So let me open this up. Yeah, it's the Church of Saint Mary and David in Kilpeck, looking like little cartoon dogs and animals, just having a lot of fun. I'm going to open this up right now and I'm going to show you. Wait, that's not. Huh. Here we go. Ponythroat says Ecco the Dolphin had sequels, but nobody talks about those. I played a little bit of the second one, like Defender of Time, or what? Wait, was that the Dreamcast one? I don't remember. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Here's a medieval Sam and Max freelance police. Freelance constables or whatever. Aaron Sharma says tribes with noble savages remind me of the Aryan invasion tribes. They prayed to Indra, and the men were seen better security mates most. Yes, indeed. Yeah, there's some pretty interesting decoration on the old medieval churches, personally. What would have made this even better is if one of the animals had like the sassy, DreamWorks, like, like eyebrow face. But yes, medieval Sam and Max freelance constables. They're my favorite cartoon. Ponythroat says Benai and Dog. Yes, it's Sam and Max, like I said. Modern animation, 12th century CE, says Timothy Adams. Indeed. Ponythroat says medieval furry is confirmed. That's unfortunate. Okay, I guess we can now go to the pop culture section, such as it is. Wait, no, I take that back. Speaking of nice art, public art, uh, I guess it's sort of like an archaeological thing, but I guess not. This came up on the Twitters. So let me open this bad boy up. Yeah, so, okay, Timothy Adams says you're supposed to make an angel. We fucked up. What do I do now? Let's make a cartoon dog. Aaron Sharma says, I used to be called the Barbaric Gentleman. I'm still the Barbaric Gentleman, sir. That's my website. I mean, my name has never changed. I've always been Larsen Halleck was the byline on the Barbaric Gentleman, always. Anyway, yeah, this is on an American hospital. You know, I don't know what to say about the United States of America as a civilization that invented the style of Art Deco, and it was just like, nah, Art Deco, a perfect fusion of classical forms and futurism, and we were just like, yeah, we're not gonna do this. We're just gonna do shitty brutalism. We're just gonna make everything look like shit. I was telling my wife about this the other day. It is astounding how much America like dropped the ball. Like how we started out so high and just tanked it completely. Like this is a country that had like at one point 50% of the world's industrial output. Now that was obviously never going to last forever, but still, like we made these styles of art, styles of music, beautiful architecture. We were just like, yeah, let's just make everything ugly and shitty for all time. And now I'm starting to think that America deliberately, America didn't just start sucking out of incompetence. Dare I say, it might have been a deliberate sabotage or a deliberate plan to make the country suck more. Like, you gotta try to fuck this country up as much as they have. And they did. Alpha Riga says, did you talk about the Twitter prostitute's birthday? Oh, yes, Ayala. I didn't talk about her yet, but yeah, apparently, I guess we could just start the pop culture talk now. She celebrated her birthday by getting just plapped by like 37 dudes. I mean, being sloppy seconds is bad enough. Imagine being sloppy 37ths. Death versus medicine. Death is undefeated, says Timothy Adams. Punk Messiah says furs have been around since the dawn of man. They were only given a name in the late 80s. Yes, indeed. In America, they say, hey, you, get off of my cloud. But in Scotland, they say, hey, McLeod, get off of my you. Timothy Adams says, stayed at the Bruton Parker House in Chicago lobby built by Tiffany in the 20s. Oh my god. Yes, it's amazing how beautiful the architecture was in this country. Aaron Sharma says, I've always held Australia and America in very high regard, like you said, yet tanked it. Same reason why America never needed epics. It was an epic of European exceptionalism. Same for Aussies. Well, I mean, I would argue that the leather stocking tales is America's epic, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, like, I mean, this is the country that, like, has produced more Nobel Prize winners than any other country. And yes, some of them, were not born in this country, but the majority of them were. Like, this is a country of, like, it's not a country of losers. Like, just, I don't know who, I'm not even going to begin to try to guess who it was, but this country was deliberately, you know, destroyed for some reason. And I don't know why they did it. I mean, maybe it was the politicians. The politicians were like, yeah, we could have this beautiful, new Rome, but nah, we're just going to have unlimited illegal immigration, just reduce everybody to just being starving wages. Womp womp. Alpha Marigi says, I blame the Soviets. Well, the Soviets certainly did infiltrate the hell out of this country, so maybe it was them and their sympathizers. Ponythroat says, I have it on good authority that MacLeod is not a Scottish name. It clearly originates from the planet Zeiss in another galaxy. I believe you mean it originated in Corneria in the Lilat system. Thank you, sir. If you'll excuse me for 1 second, I'm going to cough you up and get a tissue. I still don't have intermission music, but I should get on that. Okay, I have returned. Ponythroat said they did it because the smaller the gap between them and real people is, the more money they feel like they have. Yeah, I mean, I guess the people who seek out political power are just, sociopathic dickheads just inherently. And so they were like, what's this? A country where, there's not a large gap between the rich and the poor? A country where, the working man can afford a home and cars? A country of beautiful architecture and culture and music? Yeah, we can't have that. And it's a shame because, like, there really was like a burgeoning, like I would argue, like an American high culture, whether it be Samuel Barber, as the composer, or, Andrew Wyeth and the Edward Hopper's painters, and obviously going back to Hudson River School, there was something there, and just nope, none of that anymore. Okay. And Ponythroat says it was a Highlander reference in case you missed it. Yeah, I got that, Ponythroat. Arian Sharma says, do you guys work out? Yes, I do. I get confused how incels and normies try simplifying and overly complex sex dynamics to hide their impotence. Yes, I mean, I've advocated many times. Like, the average man is a complete chode. Like, just, stand up straight, work out, clear up your skin, and dress nice, and you'll be better than like 80% of men out there. Timothy Adams says, Russian official speaking to Lee Harvey Oswald. The Soviet Union is only great in books. Go back to your country. Yes. Arian Sharma says James Bond was Egyptian or Spanish. He was both. Well, he was both actually. He was Egyptian who pretended to be Spanish, and the Scottish main character was played by a French man. C Punk Messiah says I always thought it'd be funny if Fox McCloud was Scottish and Wolf O'Donnell was Irish, and they just roasted the hell out of each other. Yeah, that would be funny. I've always kind of liked the old like Star Fox aesthetic, where it was like the puppets. They should bring that back. If they ever did like a Star Fox movie or whatever, I would want them to just do puppets and nothing else. Taco Bella Lugosi says, "What's good, Larsen? The world is going to hell." Wait, we're already there. Yes, we are. Alpha Marie says, when asked how the data for the flowchart was collected, was there someone with a clipboard tracking where the loads were going? Ayala asked, "Yes, actually." Replied, "Yes, actually." I'd hate to be the guy who has to collect data on like the orgy. Yeah, probably the worst goddamn stats I can imagine. Anyway, now we can go to the popular culture. Okay, so the Daily Mail reveals that comedian Amy Schumer reveals she has Cushing Syndrome. Common symptoms of Cushing Syndrome include weight gain in the face. This is called moon face, and a fatty lump between the shoulders. This is the buffalo hump. So yeah, breaking news. Moon face and buffalo hump are officially sanctioned medical terms. I just thought that was really funny. Yeah, pretty soon, like camel toe and moose knuckle are going to be official medical terms. So you see, she's not just fat, she's medically fat. Obviously, I don't wish any ill will on her. Nobody should have a disease, but yeah, it's not great. Ponythroat says Star Fox is a dead franchise. Sadly, yeah, basically. I mean that franchise peaked with 64, and it's never really reached those heights since. And meanwhile, I mean Nintendo's still hanging in there because they're the only ones who aren't doing that Skinner box shit. You all know my issues with Eiji Aonuma's creative vision for Zelda, but we're not going to go over that again. Okay, Arian Sharma says, Sean Connery was killed off in Highlander. Well, he died fighting. He protected Heather. Timothy Adams says Cushing syndrome is like Whataburger syndrome. What syndrome made her unfunny? I don't know, sir. Taco Bella Lugosi says talking video games, Ghost of Tsushima, fan or not? Well, I haven't played it, but it looks pretty cool from what I've seen. So yeah, I guess I could say I am a fan. Also, speaking of video games, uh, ESG continues to dick over the video game industry. Bandai Namco localization teams admit they ordered the Japanese devs to censor their female character designs. The cleavage is too big or the skirt is a bit too short. Yeah. Good luck with that. Bandai Namco makes Soul Calibur, just FYI, a game franchise that is revolving heavily around women with gigantic yabos hanging out. I mean, what else are we going to play Soul Calibur for? The gameplay? Obviously not. Yeah, yes, Ivy does get progressively less and less clothed in every goddamn game. I again, like we talked early on in the beginning of this stream about like the sex negative right wing, but some of the left wingers they're really sex negative too. Like, yeah, like the women, like nobody dresses like this. The boobs are too big. Yeah, and there's an article I saw the other day. It's like, why are the video games full of like soft core porn heroines again? Yeah, breaking news: men like big titty bitches. Details at 11. I've always said like it should be we should have equal opportunity fan service. Yeah, breaking news: men like stacked women, and a lot of women like beefcake men. So there should be equal amounts of beefcake and cheesecake. Have sexy women and sexy men. That way it's fair. See, everyone's happy. I mean, yeah, word of advice. Nobody plays Soul Calibur for the gameplay. Just FYI. Okay, Timothy Adams says strong, independent, don't need no man syndrome. Okay, Aaron Sharma says I meant in No Time to Die. I still haven't seen it. Lonely Goomba said, Alpha Marie says that people hating on Star Fox Zero's control was a skill issue. I mean, I've never played it, so I can't really comment on it. Timothy Adams says next Soul Calibur game, all burkas. Aaron Sharma says, which one did you choose, Indiana Jones or James Bond? I'm going to have to go with Indiana Jones. It's a very tight choice, but I've always preferred it. It is distinctly American, just like James Bond is distinctly British. Taco Bella Lugosi says, for God's sake, leaves our sexy female video game, comic books, etc. alone. Stop it. Yeah, like the people who write about video games, they just seem to have a genuine hatred of video games in general. Like the same outlet, I've mentioned this before, but the same outlet is like they wrote articles about how Link from The Legend of Zelda is a queer icon. Then also they'll write articles about like, the new Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. There shouldn't be combat. The combat adds nothing to the game. So I can only assume that like their ideal Legend of Zelda game would be just walking in a straight line for 50 hours, punctuated by occasionally Link getting bent over a table and just pounded in the ass. Like that would be their ideal game. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just have, games where like little gay twink boys get, big fat cocks up the ass and, women all be built like either planks of wood or beach balls. And, Grand Theft Auto, we could just go to our wagey jobs and like not commit crime. We'll just take the bus in Gran Turismo. The only games allowed will be walking simulators and lesbian golf simulators. Hey, Taco Bell Lugosi gives me $5. Thank you, sir. Why don't the rest of you people give me money? Hey, got some comments here. Robert Diaz says, most of the people complaining on the left are either male simps or fat women nobody has sex with. Ponyfield says, oh yeah, and make sure all your characters are one-note ethnic or national stereotypes. That is the cornerstone of fighting game character design. Yes, Yes, it is. Ian Kempster says he's bored of fighting games. Taco Bella Lugosi says, what happened to reading X-Men and seeing sexy chicks and dudes? What the fuck? We'll get to Marvel Comics in a second. But we got to talk more about the video. Arian Sharma says left and right use the same nonsense points, like video games lead to violence. They both hate God of War, right because it's violence, and left for how the big titty chicks like Kratos. Yes. Alpha Marigi says sexy women playable characters is a power fantasy for women. Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, women might enjoy and feel empowered by playing as like some hyper voluptuous bombshell who can also kick ass. Like a woman designed Bayonetta, just FYI. Hey, Arian Sharma says incels too. The thing, if you look like Brad Pitt, you can only get chicks that way. Timothy Adams says Link could save Zelda and she could take off with her fat, purple-haired lesbian lover. Trying to think, is there a fat, purple-haired woman in the Zelda franchise? There's that woman who has the dogs. I haven't played one since Skyward Sword, so I'm a little out of date in my knowledge here. But yeah, Aonuma's really got to like do something to shut up the whole gay thing like immediately. And I've always said, look at what Link is physically capable of doing. He can do standing backflips and pull back longbows. Just make him built like a guy who's physically capable of doing that shit in real life. Like in the past, he was shredded, and he should still be shredded. But no, you gotta go out of your way to make him look like a little bitch, Aonuma. But even so, like I feel like Aonuma gives like the kind of safe corporate answer, but I feel like things he's said, he has kind of he is tepidly going towards, making it explicit that he is a heterosexual. But yeah, in the fighting games, we like the big titty bitches. Taco Bella Lugosi says badass sexy chicks aren't woke. Bring that back. Yes, we should bring that back. Ponythroat says doesn't matter how realistic the women in Mortal Kombat are, they're gonna end up, shredded anyway. Yes, they are. I mean, at least they do kind of explain it in the games. Like, why do the women dress so weird in Mortal Kombat? Well, Shao Kahn mandates it that way. Hey, speaking of, let's see, do we have any more video game stuff? Oh yes, I was mentioning something about Marvel Comics. Yes. So speaking of the gays ruining our heroism, and I want to clarify, it's not all gay people who do this; just a very specific kind of online moes. Yes. Gay X-Men fans love Hercules and Iceman together, but they can't decide who tops and who bottoms. Yeah, when I was a child and she was a child in the Kingdom by the Sea, kids reading comic books would debate, like, who was stronger, who could win who in a fight. They would talk about the lore and the story and the moral implications. But no, what's really important is, who gives and who receives. Now, I mean, to be fair, I mean, Hercules is ancient Greek, so I'm not entirely surprised. And in fact, in the mid 2000s run on the Incredible Hercules, they did kind of hint that he, at the very least, swung both ways. So I don't mind too much about that. But Iceman, was Iceman ever into men? I mean, this isn't necessarily bad per se, but it's the fact that they read this into every character, not just one who is canonically uh, swinging both ways. Like I don't mind Hercules being bisexual, but not Iceman. Like was he? I don't recall him ever being that way. My wife Daphne says you forgot orc coffee shop simulators. Well, yes, of course. Pointerthroat says a missed opportunity to have the only thing left after a fatality on Jade to be a pair of silicone implants. Yeah, we could do that. I mean, to be fair, it is a little silly. Like why does Devora have titties? Like she's literally a bug. There were certainly things that were cringy about the old gaming culture, but yeah, I'm starting to think we should gatekeep again. Aaron Sharma asked, "Do you have other ways of donating? YouTube takes 40% or something." Yes, I do have other ways of donating. You can donate to my Patreon or your paypal.me/Larsen Halleck. There are many, many ways for you to give me your money. But yeah, boy, it's really great that yeah, this is what X-Men's all about. X-Men is all about. I can't imagine why the comic book industry is losing money. I can't. And you really need to ask who tops and who bottoms here. Hercules is an ancient Greek. Like, he would find it a grave insult to even be accused of bottoming. A true Greco Roman man tops in his gay butt sex, just FYI. Hey, 1 second, please. Yeah, I just had to go open the door for my lady love. Yes, now the sad Shinseki Evans says the sad thing is when a character is race or gender equality swapped, they never get it restored. Nobody has the guts to undo it. Yes. Taco Bella Lugosi says, "Who the fuck cares who's the top or bottom? If they're gay, so be it." Yeah, yeah. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just like that ends up hijacking the story and ends up being nothing but just two dudes hammering each other. Arian Sharma says, as a child, seeing jacked Hugh Jackman was insane. He was prime cool. Yes, yes, he was. C-Punk Messiah asks, the real question is, why not titties? You don't question the big Argonian titties, you just sit back and enjoy. No, I'm sorry. Like, if a lizard has bosoms, I'm going to question some things. You are oviparous, ma'am. You don't have milk. Taco Bella Lugosi says they lost focus on what makes Marvel great. Awesome stories and killer artwork. Indeed. Does anybody remember when Marvel used to do like those swimsuit issues? Do they even do that anymore? The reason I ask is because another thread came up on Twitter. This is a article. I'm sorry, no, this is a letter from Marvel in 1990, probably late 1994 or 1995. And I'll read it. Dear Marvel, I saw your issue of Marvel Swimsuit Special 1994. It was very cool because it was 50-50 male and female. It was fair. This is exactly what I was talking about. Don't get rid of fan service, just make it equal opportunity. The letter continues. I am a black female, late 20s. I want to see Thor nude. The picture did not do him justice. He is a godsend. Draw him much more handsome and nude in next year's issue. Thank you. I mean, hey, good for her. I mean, she's up front. I respect that when a lady's up front with what she wants. But yeah, we can't have that anymore. Now, granted, I'm not sure if she would have enjoyed that. I mean, this is the '90s, so it would have been like some weird, lumpy Rob Liefeld Thor. But like, the desire was there, and I respect that. So yeah, that was woman. Let's say she was 27 in 1995. So somewhere out there was a 42-year-old black lady in 2010 seeing Chris Hemsworth, pop the shirt off and losing her shit. So I hope she was happy. Okay. Arian Sharma says, opinion on how the new Superman will be. Well, like a movie? Is there a new movie? I didn't know that. I mean, I do know that I have an issue with people. They're like, why it's hard to write Superman. It's too powerful. No, it's not. Like, just put in a bunch of other people with powers. This is not difficult, guys. Arian Sharma says Superman has a lot of Jewish influence. Yeah, dare I say, he was created by two Jews. Who would have thought? Taco Bella Lugosi says there's no more swimsuit issues anymore. When did they stop doing the swimsuit issues? Let me pull this one up. Okay. Looking on the Marvel wiki right now. So there's they ran from 1992 to 1995. There was so that was volume 1. Did they not go any further beyond that? Okay, volume 1, volume 1, volume 1. Yeah, it looks like they didn't really do it beyond the 90s. And that's a shame. Yeah. Alpha Riga says acid sacs. Yes. Taco Bella Lugosi says, God forbid, to show a little skin and have good story. Well, yeah, just having skin is, no good. But there's nothing wrong with it if you're having an engaging story with it. Aaron Sharma says the main conflict in Superman is conceiving the morality and how he can be evil like Reeves' Superman was so cool. Yes, indeed. But, there is something to be said of just having a bunch of other super persons, just having them fight on an equal footing. That's why the Justice League cartoon was really good. Just do something like that in a movie. It's not that hard. Taco Bell Ghost says they did 3 of these swimsuit issues. They did 4. I'm looking at from the Marvel wiki right now. Aaron Sharma says everything's gone to crap because moralistic gray. Prime example is Boys. Yes, The Boys. I mean, yeah, it went a bit downhill. And finally, in celebrity news, actor Dolph Lundgren has obtained American citizenship. That would have been worth a lot 20 years ago. Well, actually, more like 30 years ago, but I'm not entirely sure that that's worth anything, especially since if you're an illegal immigrant, you could just walk in and get shit for free. But, nonetheless, congratulations, Dolph. You're a good man. I still really hope that he has the painting of Ivan Drago in his house. So that does it for my prepared remarks. But, yeah, I'll read comments and then you can say your last pieces. Taco Bella Lugosi says Image did a swimsuit comic as well. Oh, God. With Image comics, I'm imagining like a bunch of like lumpy, distended Rob Liefeld freaks like in their swimsuits. The death mate swimsuit model. Yeah. Alpha Marigi says the Batman Brave and the Bold evil Superman that just pulled pranks instead of killing people was great. Yeah, that was like literally like super dickery the episode where he was like, burning Jimmy's like jacket and stuff. Hey, Ian Kempster says he loves The Boys. I like the comics. The show's pretty good too, but like, it's kind of deviating from the source material, and I don't like how Starlight's basically completely useless this whole time. I mean, I'm still gonna probably watch the next season of The Boys, but I still think the first season was the best. C-Punk Messiah says, imagine Dolph teaching Kyokushin karate. I mean, he is certainly qualified to do so. Taco Bell Lugosi says, wow, it took him that long. Hey, I mean, William Shatner's been living in America for 50 years, and he's still not an American citizen. Aaron Sharma asked Dorian Yates or Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, I don't like the weird, like, roid belly look, so I'm going to go with Arnold. So, yeah, say your last pieces, please. Aaron Sharma says, they made Homelander too connected to the real politics. Perhaps they did. Hey, Taco Bella Lugosi says, nah, it was bad. The cover was pretty good. It was homage studios from Images. Hey. Yeah, I mean, Image Comics was Rob Liefeld's, house, so I can't imagine anybody looked good in that. I agree, Ian Kemster says, referring to the politics thing. Alpha Mariga says, I have faith the new Star Fox is coming soon. Well, we shall see. Arian Sharma says, Starlight got a shitty surgery too. Yeah, she got that buccal fat removal surgery, which is a goddamn shame. I mean, she looked good. And now she doesn't. Aaron Sharma says, all the best. Thank you, sir. You too. So I'll give you another minute or so. Say your last pieces before I head out here. Okay, so it doesn't look like anybody has anything else to say. So for Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.